You're listening to SM Media.
Hi, folks, and welcome to the latest episode of SM Media's Countdown to Cheltenham 2025. I'm Scott McPike. It is always a pleasure to be your host, as always. And the jump season is fully kicked in now. Last weekend was an absolute tremendous viewing. And to discuss that and to obviously look ahead to another busy weekend, it's a pleasure to be joined by from the Scottish Daily Mail, Callum McClurkin.
Hi there, yeah, all good. Some brilliant action around Punchestown, Haydock in particular. Ask as well wasn't too bad, so quite a busy weekend and sparks things off into almost countdown to Christmas and New Year and things like that. So yeah, every week when it begins to kind of heat up more and more, you get just seeing more and more Grade 1 horses coming out and potential superstars coming out as well.
Yeah, obviously we're kind of close to the kind of same area, and we obviously had the snow. It was quite bad round about here at the weekend. There was something about sitting with your Christmas. We've got our Christmas tree up already. Sitting with the Christmas tree up, the snow outside. You can't really go out, and a messy, muddy haydock is on. There's something about that that just makes you feel this is the winter kicks in now.
Yeah, I was at a football hospitality days, and it
Yes.
was about the only fix in the land outside the Scottish Premiership that survived. So yeah, I was kind of watching from the phone from afar, but it did look filthy there as well. So yeah, they managed to get it on, which was great. And yeah, it just became really attritional. And once you're away and you can't really see it on day, you can't really monitor the markets the way you should. And the markets kind of, and the feature was like, the sea of blue for Royal Picay all day. You know what that means. It's raining and it's the ground's coming right, and he's fully recovered, and it kind of panned out the way the attritional contest that you want. It's just that very specific horses for courses in those conditions line. But yeah, it's just proper old fashioned winter jump racing, which is what you want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but obviously before the weekend, obviously there was a lot coming out. I think it was Thursday. It was just after we'd recorded. The news was coming out about Constitution Hill, that he was very unlikely to make the fighting fifth. There has been a bit more positivity saying that there is a chance he makes the Christmas hurdle. He does look a bit better. But that's a question that came in. Will Constitution Hill ever run another race, Callum?
I don't think so, but that's a cynical punting mind in me, and being cynical tends to pay off a bit more when you think like that. In terms of sport, I hope he does. I would really want him to be back, and you want to see him. But yeah, he's the constant updates. It's just these constant setbacks. It's like one step forward, two steps back with him. He's taking a walk at the market again. He's 41 now for a champion hurdle. He's Nicky Henderson will not run him unless he thinks he's 100% back to his best. I think he's too much kind of on the line. Too much on the line, and we're too far down the line. Really, he's not going to. He's just not going to risk it. Yeah, and you can kind of see this movie kind of playing out again. Really, you can see maybe another gallop before Boxing Day, and something else happening, and then the Cheltenham again. It's getting pretty repetitive, and I don't think we need kind of constant daily updates about it, to be honest, either anymore. It's just kind of, it's making things a bit dull, and it's kind of no, it's kind of slowly eroding Constitution Hill's legacy a bit. You're trying to remember what he did on the track and how brilliant it was, but you've not seen him for a year, and then you're getting all these updates about it. You've seen him more in his barn or like flopping at work instead of kind of remembering what it's all about in his racing. So yeah, I mean, it looks unlikely. I think the last update from Mick Henderson was good. I mean, it's just the depth of it. I mean, he's tremendously protective of his horses, and brilliant care, and understandably trainers and owners will just have unwavering faith in their horses, particularly their best ones. But if you're a punter with your own money, you just can't back a horse that's had so many issues, and that they're still ongoing. Even though that update was positive, because it wasn't like, there's no kind of hairline fracture there, or something that's broken. It's kind of a trap pinch nerve, and he goes into specifics, and that's great to hear, because welfare is is important. You're actually seeing Constantine Hill should probably be like a saver for Kerry. He gets an X-ray the following day. I mean, Constantine Hill's more likely to get an X-ray than us going to A&E at the moment.
Yeah.
He'll get it seen quicker. The care he's getting. So he's still been treated like a top class athlete, looking at things and working hard. And he'll be trying to go back. He still seems enthusiastic enough, but it's just whether the engine's there. It seems unlikely, and whether he's got the lung capacity that he did anymore. Because I mean, even before the last one was at Newbury, there was one at Kempton as well beforehand. It was pretty lethargic. You don't go to public gallops to kind of stink the place out. Really, he expects to show something, and he hasn't done it. And you're kind of getting these constant updates of like, was his schooling? When he's like, one week is schooling, and then the other week you say like, he's not lifted a leg since last Christmas hurdle, and say, well, which is it? Sometimes the kind of punter side of you goes, I'm just completely leaving this alone right now, and I just want to see him on track. And you kind of you take that, your punting side is just extremely cynical about the whole thing, rightfully so. But for the sporting side, you want to see him come out of it. You want to see him well. You want to see him run. You want to see him back to his best.
That's absolutely it. I think it is more like the heart in you wants to see him run again, because I mean, I was having this discussion a couple of days ago with somebody else. It was like, is his legacy already one of the best champion hurdlers of all time, or does he need another one to put himself into that list? Because I can't remember seeing a horse that, I mean, go back and watch his Supreme. If you want a performance to watch, it's that. Just how well he just takes that bend and then does it again in the champion hurdle, and he was pretty much flawless in a racetrack. And now, when we're at the stage now where we're really doubting whether we'll ever see him again, does he need another one to be that kind of all-time great that his ability should be already there?
Has he been around long enough to be an all-time great? The answer's probably no at the moment. You probably would need to come back to kind of some longevity. He's only won and one Supreme, which is blistering. I mean, I think his Supreme performance lives more in the head than his champion hurdle one.
Yeah.
Even his performance at Aintree 1 year might have been arguably better. But yeah, I mean, the ratings there, the numbers there, the figures there, it's stratospheric comparison, even what we've seen from like Brighterdaysahead and State Man the weekend. Constitution Hill, top form, we wins that by 10, 15 lengths at least. I just think when you see kind of things about National Hunt racing and the breed, and it's a little bit shallow, and the champion hurdle being quite light on the ground, you do want to kind of see a top-notcher win champion hurdles. No disrespect to State Man, but he isn't top class. He's a kind of low to mid 160s horse, I think, and he arguably doesn't like Cheltenham too much. Particularly the old course, I would say. If he was a top-notcher, he wouldn't have been a county hurdle plot. He probably should have been in the Supreme, things like that. So yeah, we're kind of, every sport looks for superstars, and when they're sidelined for that amount of time, it's just naturally disappointing. But Mickey Henderson, Nico de Boinville, Michael Butler will be equally and probably more so disappointed than any racing fan watching the game. So yeah, disappointing, frustrated, but they're keeping at it and trying to get them back. But just every single passing hour, every single passing day, it just looks less and less likely.
Yeah, absolutely. Next question, quite a debate at the moment. Who is your top 5 jockeys in UK and Ireland at the present moment?
Number 1, Jack Kennedy. It's always will be for me. I think he's superb. Paul Townend probably number 2. And I think Mark Walsh has elevated himself to number 3. I think with GP Mass and better horses, and sticking by him as number 1, I think it's pretty significant, and he's getting some decent results now. I think he's riding tactically a bit better than before. He'd be Harry Cobden number 4 and Sean Bowen number 5 to get 2 Brits in. I think they kind of, well, two jockeys based in Britain anyway at the moment. I think they're pretty good up here. So yeah, those 5 I think seem fair enough to me. But there are quite a few that you could give a shout to.
Yeah, I'm with you in 4. Mark Walsh didn't make it for me. I don't think there's a better informed jockey at the moment than Darrell O'Keefe. Is that fair?
He was on my list initially, and then I thought, in form right now, you're looking at big races and big Says it's not quite there yet at the moment, but yeah, he's getting there. Rachel Blackwell's got a lot of work to come back and usurp him as number one in Henry de Bromheads, and there's a decision to be made there down the line because he's always been spotted as a young talent emerging, and he hasn't quite had the opportunity that his talents probably deserve, but certainly starting to fulfil it now. And he's getting there with some a lot stronger, better, and tactically more astute rides. So yeah, he's definitely making hay. Sam Ewing at Elliott's as well.
Sam
Gone
Ewing.
is another one to watch. Michael Silver after the Barry Connell split might get more opportunities elsewhere and things like that. He's in France and sometimes in Britain as well. He's Willie Mullins and Gordon Elliott will give him chances in third and fourth string. So yeah, you've got to kind of take what you can get in Ireland. It seems to be a much more competitive jockey scene over there than it is here at the moment.
Right, let's move into with 3 Grade 1s. We're going to cover the big races. We're going to start with on Saturday the Betfred race. We did discuss it a little bit just before there. Very much a race that turned as soon as the ground went testing. As Callum said, the money came for Royal Pagaille. And I think Grade On, and despite not winning, has showed a lot because even to go toe-to-toe with Royal Pagaille like that and testing ground away did, first time in open company, I think a seriously good performance from Grey Dawning.
Yeah, two honest, hardy horses going at it on really horrible ground. The market just told you where it was going in the morning. Even a Hoisin, yeah, the ground's going against him, but again, held up out the back. It just doesn't give him any chance of jumping properly. And he's probably got to go on the cold list permanently now. For me, I mean, how many chances do you want to kind of be in a race? He had a run. He looked the least fit there. There would be a concern. Royal Pagaille, I don't think that's an amazing training performance. I know it's like a Haydock specialist, I think, but he fractured his shoulder. It was a shuddering fall in the Cotswold Chase.
Yeah.
Just one hardly tights to go back round there again at the age of 10 and just grind it out. He's a look beat going over the last year. Great Dawning, he's got nothing. Harry Skill's not holding on to anything, but he was travelling all over him, but he just kept finding and repelling in that ground, and that was enough.
People have talked about the final fence. I think it is just can hardly lift a leg.
He's just tired. They're just knackered. On that ground, it's absolutely bottomless. It doesn't matter how much class you've got. If the tank's empty, it's empty. Mm-hmm. And he's coming around there and he's knackered. He's beaten by a couple of lengths in the end. I certainly don't think there's a stamina doubt on his part for a Gold Cup. They're still going to campaign him that way. But when you looked across at John Durkin tomorrow, I think that's the biggest fear rather than his performance here, the step up. Because I think these two at the top of the Irish market, arguably 3, possibly even 4, will blow that form at the water. I mean, really, Roy Pagaille, we know exactly what he is. He's exposed. He's not improving. It's probably a lifetime best. This is the kind of thing with bottomless ground and marks. They get stratospheric numbers for just coping with the conditions the best. And that's what it's like. So yeah, I can't see him being. It's more of a Ryanair horse than a Gold Cup horse, but they've got protected already for that race. They're kind of. I think they need to kind of stick to their guns and try and believe in him and be a Gold Cup horse, and he could well be because he jumped really well. And he did look very classy, but that Turner's form from last year does need improving on. And after seeing what he did in Ireland, it needs improving on again, even though he's done pretty well there in defeat. And that's a hard race, you'd be lucky if you get one run into him before Cheltenham after that,
Is King George a possibility? 7-1.
No, it's too early. He's ruled it out. He's ruled it out. He says he's going to take 6 weeks minimum, rightfully so, because that took a lot out of him. So maybe a Cotswold Chase, something like that.
It could be. But a really good day for obviously Royal Pagaille. Another Grade 1 for the Ritchie team. Venetia Williams, obviously back-to-back years winning that massive achievement for Royal Pagaille. Over in Ireland, we had 2 Grade 1s. We'll start with on Saturday the Morgiana Hurdle. Great man is human in Ireland. Brighter Days Ahead got the better of him. First mare in 33 years to win the Morgiana Hurdle. I think very much. I don't know whether it was just a case of the more fit horse won the race, but I think State Man will come on the run. I would fancy State Man more at Christmas. I think the run will probably help him long term. And Brighter Days Ahead, in terms of where she was at, she maybe needed that performance to show she's champion hurdle calibre?
I don't think she's a champion hurdle horse, personally.
Okay.
I think she need to start now to win it. I think she get left behind down the hill. She's also not a good jumper.
Yeah.
I mean, she absolutely whacked the third last. I mean, a reappearance right down Royal, she whacked the last there as well, which is a bit of a klutz. And what she's doing is, in defying that, is quite remarkable. She's really hardy and classy. There's no doubt about that. And the way she battled back to repel State Man was very impressive. And lifts her into the conversation. But there's a lot about her that doesn't scream even 74 Mares hurdle shot at the moment. I think Lossiemouth would batter her, to be honest. Absolutely hammer her. It's like over 2 miles. I think she's at bottomless like she did there. She had the run. The State Man did make a pretty quick move past her towards the last and then flattened out.
Mm. And that was just fitness.
It was fit as well. State Man was, 27 and went off 49, 10 minutes before the off.
Yeah.
Tells you a lot, I think. I'm not getting carried away with that form at all, personally. I think it's it's a bit of a false result, and I agree with you that will be turned round at Christmas. It'll probably be turned round the Irish champion. At Cheltenham, I don't think either of them will win at the moment, because it depends what race Lossiemouth runs in. I think Lossiemouth would beat the pair of them. But it's one of those races where I think it's a little bit deceptive in the way it was. I don't think she got beat the mares in August Seville because there was no pace. That was 2 miles on the new course.
And is that form been franked well? Well,
not really by Golden Ace, but the yard probably needed the run.
Yeah.
And not really seen Jade DeGruzy yet. She's taken an obvious step up there. She's lowered the colours of State Man. That is definitely worth something. It's got a very solid horse. But Willie Mullins has even admitted that probably bumped into a decent mare that's race fit, and caught us out. And they've both well clear the remainder as you would expect. So I think it's borderline 160 form. I mean, it's back into her own sex. 153. It does set a standard, but it's not a lofty one in the males division on its own. And I just think Lossiemouth would beat her in the spring on spring ground, and would certainly beat her over 2 miles. I think she's a chaser. She looks like a chaser in the making. She's kind of defying your expectations, which is a dangerous thing to do, to just constantly oppose her, because when she's winning like that. But I don't think she's a kind of absolute world beater yet. But she battled back really well down the inside, very brave. Jumped better the last, funnily enough, when it mattered, because I think State Man made a move and then he kind of landed on all fours a little bit and gifted Lossiemouth Brighterdaysahead a wee back. But I still think she would probably battle back anyway and won on fitness grounds alone. So it was a good little race to watch. Whether it'll be that irrelevant come spring, I'm not entirely sure. But she warrants a lot of respect. Her record's like 6 from 7 now.
Mm-hmm.
The yard think the world of her. I don't think she's an actual 2 mile hurdler.
We'll probably see come Christmas. We'll move into probably the race of the season so far, the John Durkin on Sunday. 4 tremendous horses, obviously winning, but it was won by Fact to File. Bit of a draft in the market during the day. Then went off, I think 5-1. One obviously tremendous performance. Obviously a big statement win from Fact to File, beating Galloping Deschamps. In terms of the race, what did you make of it? Like how good was it to watch that?
It's a brilliant watch. It's just like it's what Ireland offers more than Britain at the moment. I mean, they run their horses. They're not. You're kind of guessing how forward they are fitness wise, but still run them anyway against each other. There's no fear in doing that, and the program caters for it, and that's why it's more competitive, and that's why you're seeing kind of the better horses and the better races over there at the moment. I mean, there's a good argument that the Savills Chase is just Leopardstown at Christmas could even usurp Kempton.
Yeah,
it's a spectacle now, and you're seeing that at the entry stage. It was about the only thing I got right all weekend. Was that race? I was quite keen, in fact, to File. I thought he'd come out in the market. He did. He went out to fives, went about 7-2. He went off. And they won. And Gallop and Deschamps, fast or slow, wanted to make it a test, understandably so. They could have knocked 7 bells at each other, I thought, up front for a long way. Gallopin won that argument. And then the two McManus horses come out and outspeed them and fight it out. In fact, if I just found a little bit more at the end.
The thing that impressed me about Fact to File is if you watch the track, as I have quite a few times, his jumping wasn't great, but his engine gets him through. And that, again, when obviously going to need to see him go up and trip and see if he can handle beating Galloping or even taking a race to Galloping Deschamps over further. But it shows you the engine's there, because I thought at times his jumping was a bit sketchy.
Yeah, he can do that. I mean, I was a bit worried about him around the old course on Brown Advisory, but he just gets over it. He's so clever. And he gives that impression there's always something more to come. I think he's very tactically versatile. He could probably stick him anywhere. Out the back, he'll have gears to get out of it. At the front, he can grind it out. Spallan's Tower looked like he'd come with a withering running, absolutely surged past him. He just stuck his neck out and found more. And he left the impression that he would have always repelled him, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think Spallan's Tower will beat Fact to File ever, to be honest. I think that was a chance. The flip side of that, Spallan's Tower took a massive drift. Apparently, only had like a week's work or something. But I think maybe he did get the best right, because he did come the latest with a late run. And Jack Kennedy gave it a really good effort. But I think Fact to File, just as a bit of class and a bit of guts, and the way he kind of stuck it out there on the line would give you hope for a Gold Cup for him, for sure. He's kind of gradually ironing out any of those doubts about him. And we know the yard love him because they're doing the Florida Pearl route straight over fences, are wasting no time. You think he is at that level already, and well, he is. He's now 2-1 favourite for the Gold Cup. Usurping Galloping Deschamps over almost a mile further in March.
What do you think of that market?
Would be tougher.
Fact to File's 2-1 right now. I think that's really, really short at this time for a horse. Even if Galloping Deschamps was that price, I'd be like, right, that's a bit short. Galloping Deschamps out to 7-2 is probably a fair price in him. Like it does seem to be those two at the top, and I don't really see any of the other two being Gold Cup winners.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Spallan's, there's a lot of people that believe in him, and understandably so. But I mean, disrespect to Jimmy Mangan as a trainer, but there's a difference between Willie Mullins and in that regard. He could make up like the thing. I think a lot of people have missed is that all his relevant form was going right-handed.
Mm-hmm.
It's all at Punchestown and Fairyhouse, really. He get beat at Nice or Navan by Blood Destiny. That's not good form. It was 2 miles, it was pretty insufficient, but he did win over 2 miles at Punchestown and things like that. So there's nothing in his jumping that says it's a problem. It's probably by accident rather than design, but I think it's something you've got to note as well. I think they probably all weren't fit. Spallan's Towers ran another career best, but is he kind of another fast or slow where, he's going to win the odd race and get there, but is he going to win anything tangible and related to Cheltenham or at Leopardstown? You'd have to have your doubts. You're looking at him and fast or slow to be supplementing for a King George. That's a winnable race for them.
Yeah.
Are they winnable against Galloping Deschamps, will be fitter and didn't look any worse for wear?
He looked better. He looked better this time out than he did last year at this time.
He certainly did. He certainly jumped better, But I think the ground was a lot softer this year, so that's going to actually help him. I think soft ground's quite important to him. But that's kind of issue that these faster slows and Spallan's Tower and pretty much every British horse got to worry about. Even Jerry Colombe to a degree is it's really hard to see beside Fact to File and Galloping Deschamps. And Galloping Deschamps did go out a little bit to 9-2. He's been clipped back into where he was before race 7-2. I think that's right.
Yeah.
And Fact to File, I think it has to be favourite now because he's proved his potential and he's won that. And I'd imagine he'd be better over further and be more forward as well. Should be close short. It's 2-1. Maybe he should be like 5-2, 3-1. Be more a marginal favourite, but it's a pretty mature market, and it's the two trained by an absolute superstar and two that absolutely look like superstars. I mean, you're hoping it's like a kind of Cato Damon situation come March, but Marcus are taking on each other anyway. They're probably going to take each other on at Christmas, and they might take on each other in the Irish Gold Cup because well, the ones who get so many of them, you can't keep them apart all the time.
Yeah, I thought if it turns out to be what I'm hoping it is, which they meet the next two times, I think we're in for a treat all season round. Let's move on to our five performances, kind of other races, other kind of horses that caught our eye over the week. Carl, we'll start with you. You've got the first one. What was the most impressive performance out with the Grade Ones for you?
Most impressive. I mean, you'd have to say Ballyburn because I thought he was very good. Again, I thought he was. Yeah, what was it? You can question what he beat Emilio Castleton more. Yeah, but I mean, he even ran well on a Martin Pipe, didn't he? So he's probably a 130 horse. He made an odd shape at the first. That was only it. That was it. I mean, he looked better the way he went on. The only doubt would be that if there's any horse that was tailor made for the turners, like Galloping Deschamps was, it was him. It looked like a very tried and tested plan, and the fact he started out in this intermediate trip. If you think he's a banker to win at Cheltenham, you wouldn't be entirely confident that he was an Arkle horse. You wouldn't be entirely confident that he was a Brown Advisory horse.
It was just like Bob Bollinger. It reminded me of when Bob Bollinger I think maybe I don't think it was the same race. I think it was Punchestown though, but it just struck that to me as like, right, they kind of know where they want to go here, but the option's not there anymore. What do you think his head carriage? Like, I know we had that discussion last week. Does it not worry you?
It doesn't worry Willie Mullen. Willie Mullen says that the lower the head carriage, the better you are. I mean, Mikey Potter had a renowned low carriage, and he did really, really well. I mean, I think it's probably a positive thing. I think I see it as a sign of focus and getting on with it, and a good sign of attitude. Carriage doesn't bother me. Yeah, it looks a bit awkward to the naked eye from afar, but actually, if anything, it might even be a positive. So, it's not a worry for me. The only slight worry would be slowly run Arkle if he's got the gears. Because he does look more of a kind of future Gold Cup project than than a champion chase horse. That's for sure.
Does that performance mean they should be 64 for the Arkle?
No, because it's depth to that. Because now the Turtles is gone, you're going to get a lot of horses going this way. Firefox has to go this way in the pocket. Slade Steele has to go this way. In fact, Sergino probably won't now. It makes it a little bit easier. Luigi Sud set a good standard. So all of a sudden you've gone from an Arkle that sometimes can cut up and attract nobody. Because the Turners isn't there, it should attract at least 4 to 5, maybe even 6 very good horses. So no, he's not for me. And the 2 mile question's a little bit. It's a little bit of a doubt. He didn't run in the Supreme. He could have run in the Supreme. He's just one of these horses where he could have won anything what he did, but he's 2.5 mile form. He looks better the further you go, and it's not as if he's running at 2 miles right now. So you'd have to have a little bit of doubt if he comes up against something with genuine pace. It could do him with one run, maybe, but there's no doubt he's an absolute class act and he's holding all the aces. But there's enough chinks in the armoury to not get involved in the Arkle that short. He could go for the other race. He could miss Cheltenham altogether. There's good kind of mid 2.5 mile races at Fairyhouse and Aintree and things like that. If you've got a genuine kind of, if you want to be campaigning as a Gold Cup horse, it's difficult to kind of go from an Arkle and do it, but it can be done. But it's just be interested to see where he goes.
In terms of obviously kind of like Willie Mullins was quick to say Limerick wasn't on the cards. The race at Christmas at Leopardstown is now at Naas, I believe, and it's been demoted to a Grade 2. I don't know what he's thinking when he says he was planning on coming to England. I don't know what else is there. I thought Silly Isles maybe, but again, that wouldn't suggest Arkle. Like, the options are quite bare between now and Cheltenham for Ballyburn when you look at it.
It's a problem. I think he's in that Grade 2 now in January. I think that's kind of plan. There's a new kind of race sponsored by the Racing Post that will go there. Yeah, it's not a bare 2 mile, but he's going to go to the Arkle. Like, if he goes to the Arkle, it's going to face his kind of raw test of speed there. He didn't. If he won a Supreme and coming into it like he did he was kind of answer that doubt. I suppose he did answer that doubt a little bit. Christmas Leopardstown, things like that, when he raced over 2 miles and it wasn't a problem for him. He might have too much class, it doesn't matter regardless. But it's an interesting quandary because, as you mentioned, with these two, like Bob Alonso, Gallop and Deschamps, there was this sort of set, comfortable programme.
Mm-hmm.
And the Cheltenham Festival tailed it with the option of the tunnels. Now that's gone, it's kind of it's a little bit in the air. They've got to kind of think in their feet a little bit. I'm sure they'll find a way around it. The horse will probably find a way around it as well. But yeah, it just makes life a shade trickier.
I am going to go to Haydock for the opener on Saturday. I thought Road Less Travelled looked very good. Looks a proper stayer. Obviously, looks sort of, that kind of horse. Like John Joe does have a few kind of decent horses, and he does obviously campaign them well when he gets it right. I don't think he would be out of place in a Charlo. I'm keen to see where you are with that. But I thought in terms of that race, I was really taken by that performance.
Yeah, he was well supported as well against a decent scale horse. I like Country Mile, who kind
Yeah.
of ran the exact same he did at Ayr. Yeah, another one that probably found out the ground a little bit. He wanted to come up to here for better ground, and he was drifted all day. And I kind of knew how my day was going to go after that when things like that were happening. But he ran perfectly well, so I think he's beaten a decent yardstick. He got an open coat at like 40s for the Supreme. He's this kind of like, we'll campaign him at 2 for now and then go up 2.5 gradually. He seems like that type. He might be one that they might fling in the Supreme. I think I wouldn't be in any immediate rush to step him up and trip, because the trainer seems convinced it'll be better and better ground. So that must suggest he's got some gears, and he's jumping and slicking up for that. So yeah, I mean, he's kind of like he's same owners, isn't it? He's kind of like Springwell Bale Mark II. You know, if they get enough runs in him, he might be a bet for hurdle horse and then go Supreme that way. You know, like the Neils have done that before. We like that kind of trip. So yeah, he might take in another 2 mile grade novice race and then maybe in an open handicap, and then maybe take his chance in a Supreme if he keeps this upward trajectory going. But he was an interesting horse and he did it well, and the market liked him. And I think George Nosey seemed a bit better this year. I think they were kind of a lot in that kind of Lambourn area. Where Nick Henderson was, they did. Charlie Longshan, they did report that there were quite a lot of them second half of the season. Even Paul Nicholls said they weren't quite right all the time. So yeah, I think there might be better days ahead there for them.
Into your second horse, Callum. What other horse caught your eye over the week?
There's definitely quite a few. Only by Night I thought was really good. I mean, Gavin Cromwell improved Limerick Lace from 120 to win a male chase eventually. It's a tall ask for Only by Night, but she was so small that she kind of made her move in the last. He thought he was out of the race. You couldn't even see her really, and she just jumped in between the big two and waltzed away quite impressively. Now, the only doubt is that her form badly tapered off at the end of last season. Quite significantly. And you wonder if the same thing will happen again over fences for her. And she doesn't look to have the kind of a big build that a chaser would be crying out for. But she's a hardy type. She's a gradual improver. And it was another big kind of first impression, a bit like down memory lane a little bit. Where it's like notable first big impression, but probably one to kind of tread a little bit carefully with next time if upped in grade too steeply. I think she could come. She could probably go to like Carlisle's and Market Racings of the world and Perth later on and kind of plunder these kind of pretty valuable kind of listed prizes, like Brides Hill kind of did for the yard, and do that. So I think she'll find her level at this grade. She was a tidy jumper, and the way she scooted clear, she can quicken really, really stylishly. So while probably not one for big spring festivals yet, I would say she probably needs more experience and strengthening up, but I think she can make her way up the ranks quite slowly but quietly, and kind of no lesser spotted places in the UK that have got these kind of listed mares races for her.
Yeah, and she beat Mirazur West in that race, who jumped very right. Like, he's turned into a bit of a flop as well. Like,
Have you ever seen a horse that needs being right-handed raced so much in left-handed tracks as well.
Yeah, it definitely needs to go right-handed.
Or get headgear on, I think.
I am not saying that my next horse is going to win at Cheltenham, right? But I do think we have seen the best bumper performance so far this season. I thought Calypso Chance was very good. Would I back him at 6-1 for a champion bumper? The answer's no. But I do think it's the best bit of form we've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, you sauntered clear of a decent Willie Mullins horse. It's a half-brother to State Man.
Yes.
Won pretty effortlessly. Again, Willie's probably needed the run. The market did indicate that again. But Eddie O'Leary bought this for 85 grand and was pretty cocky about it with he's kind of stole one at the sales a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe the price tag that was pretty low for a classy bumper horse. It's probably seen him be under the radar a little bit, but it's early days, and you'd think Johnny Elliott might have bigger and flashier wins to fire yet, and the same will obviously be the same with Willie Mullins. Yeah, there's been a couple of decent bumper horses that have come out relatively early, so yeah, that could be a promising division this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we'll go into your third and final horse, Callum.
I was pretty impressed by the Big Westerner, I've got to say.
Okay.
Big strapping mare, beat the right horses, looked like a kind of dour steer, battled back. Yeah, beat a gentle boy who's well fancied, threatened to travel all over her really, and she just swatted him away. 21 for the Bartlett, it's probably not bad. I don't really see where else she can go at the festival because she is a dour steer. The mare's novices would be patently too sharp for her. But very rarely you see a mare do that in a maiden and a decent maiden against the boys straight away and fight, and she's got size and scope about her. And she should improve, and Henry de Bromhead, that division, it's pretty strong. It just looked a good race to my eye. A lot travelled powerfully in behind with decent reputations, and they were all kind of swiftly repelled one by one from the front. It just looked a pretty good race, and it's a race that usually works out quite well down the season one way or another. So yeah, and none more caught the eye than the winner as well. She's a good horse going forward, and another one that you probably have to pigeonhole as a Bartlett horse at early days. There's been about good 2 or 3 of them so far for me.
Yeah, absolutely. You are getting prices of 25-1 for the Bartlett. Just want to touch on quickly a couple of races in Ireland just to get. I wanted to get your thoughts on. I was actually, we're not talking this about performance. The Gigginstown 1-2-3 in the Florida Peril. Were you impressed with that? That's some training effort to get a 1-2-3 in that race.
Yeah, from 3 runners. Just another farcical grade 2, isn't it?
Do you know what was bad about that race?
Nobody wanted to make the running.
No, that was the thing. Like, it was just a case of...
They're all strong stairs as well, and nobody's kind of the running. I mean, I suppose the classes horse won in the end. We'll learn more from them in a proper race up in grade over Christmas, won't we? That's the case with quite a few of these. But yeah, I mean, still a story. Yeah, decent enough prospect. Bartlett winner, obviously, was probably down the pecking order a little bit as an novice hurler, but made hay, and he does look like a horse that needs bad ground, doesn't he, as well? So yeah, and Search for Glory ran pretty well in behind as well. So bit of a schooling session, but they didn't make any negative impression on me.
Yeah, no, that as well. I do think the third might be a bit more of a kind of handicapper. I think the top two maybe like one's maybe a Brown Advisory, one's a National Hunt Chase horse. We'll really see what happens there. Thought it was a nice maiden hurdle at Punchestown. It was won by Butch Cassidy, and there was a good horse in second, Manzarac for Gordon Elliott. Could see them being potential in the kind of grade 1 at Christmas if the ground's quite soft.
Yeah, exactly. It was a very similar field to the Big Westerner race, wasn't it? With the Bromhead horse touching off the Elliott horse in that instance instead of the Mullins horse. Yeah, that just looked just a strong maiden hurdle to follow. So yeah, maybe you could have picked that from the Big Westerner. That's nice. It was pretty good for Nicky Henderson.
Yeah.
Slash of the mare's novice hurdle market. So though he was kind of doubtful that whether she had the genuine pace for that. But excess stamina in that race is certainly no bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
She was a bit airy at a few. She definitely has a high reputation. It's just whether she'll be kind of campaigned like that kind of horse that you think. as a Mare's novice hurler, but we'll see. But that was another one that was full of promise as well. So there was plenty to like over the weekend.
Yeah, and the weekends keep getting busier. We've got a busy weekend coming up. We'll start with Friday. We don't have declarations yet. We're recording this before 10 o'clock, but we're just going to go with it. 1:55 at Newbury, we've got the John Frankham Novices Chase. Paul Nicholls has Captain Teague and Caldwell Potter both entered in this. Caldwell Potter's entered in a 2 mile race before that, so again, that kind of tells you they're not really sure what they want to do with him yet. The jukebox man's in here as well. You've got Masaccio, Johnny Who, Will Mount. That's a nice novices chase, but I'm keen to see Captain Teague. I think will definitely go here, but it'll probably be interesting to see what happens in this.
Well, apparently Caldwell Potter is going to Carlisle.
Okay.
On the Saturday.
Right. Okay. So
over 2 miles. So Captain Teague's going to be his horse here. I think he's likely to win. The jukebox man probably might need the run a little bit. Ben Pollings have certainly needed it. Captain Teague, probably need the win. I had a walk over at Exeter.
Yeah, a wee bit of a sprint, yeah.
So yeah, he's been a little bit out. I'm interested to see where the ground goes as well. Good solid. There is the odd shower about. It might turn soft by then. That'd be no bad thing for the horses, to be honest. Masaccio probably needs to step up.
Yeah,
a little bit on ratings. I think he'd probably take his chance. Alan King's stringer in decent form. To me, he looks more of a kind of like novice handicapper rather than a graded horse at this rate. Johnny, who I thought was really impressive at Carlisle,
yeah, I thought he was as well.
In debut, and I think he's probably got the best form coming into this.
He's beat, is it Boogie Seagull with Thinks in this as well? I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but I think he beat him at Carlisle, didn't he?
Yeah, he beat him by 1.5 lengths. So, okay, It was only a 3-runner race, but he winged absolutely everything. He was one that straight going into the notebook straight away. So I think he's the one that could expose any kind of weakness in Captain Teague on the day, because I think he's probably the one with the most potential that's going to run in it. So torn between them. I'd be interested to see what Wilmot does, because he was highly touted. I mean, he looked like kind of supreme material at the start of the season, and for reasons that we all know, Nick Anderson's went south and everything went wrong, but he did pull up the Challow and the mad experience there. He's probably he might need this. So yeah, Johnny Who or Captain Teague at the moment, I'd be looking at, but the market will probably tell more.
Yeah, I'm keen to see. I'm keen to see what Handstands does. Like, I don't know if he'll run both the jukebox man and Handstands, but I thought he was travelling pretty well until he fell in the Rising Stars.
I was travelling okay. I was on him that day. He was going out wide, and you could kind of see that kind of mistake coming a little bit. I think they kind of left a bit too much on him that day to do himself justice, and it might have been sharp, and the quick ground I think was a bit of against him. So this might be more suitable, more galloping track, Newbury. But a faller after debut, coming into this back into Grade 2 company, would not be for me at all. But yeah, he's got promise. I'd be interested to see how he runs. I'd have my doubts.
Let's move into the long distance hurdle at 3:05. Strong leader, obviously, in there at 13-8. Crambo 2-1. Langer Dan 5-2. You've got Dashel Drasher, Beacon Edge, Mon Morale's in there. I wouldn't say it's a great race, but it's certainly a competitive one.
Yeah, but it just showcases the depth of the British staying hurdles, doesn't it? All the relevant players are actually here, and you're not kind of massively impressed by them. Strong leader. It's just whether he's flattered a little bit by entry because it's end of season form, and I suspect he is, because if you look at, what he's beaten Buddy 1 second, not done anything since over fences. Third, Hidden Valley Lake. It's an okay horse, but he wouldn't be top 5 in Ireland, really, would he? Monkfish fourth is just not the horse that he was he? Flood Potter was a well-beaten favourite, and he's been sidelined subsequently. There was nothing to like really about that race. He's come up fresh, missed Cheltenham and won. He's okay. I think Crambo might beat him here.
Okay.
I think he's kind of the one that gradually went through the ranks. Took in Cheltenham. He was 71 at the stairs. I thought Cheltenham. I always thought it was ridiculous, and he had no chance. And he turned out to be tailed off 9th. And I don't think that's his track. I think this kind of flatter galloping track in Newbury is better for him. Like it was at Ascot when he chinned Paisley Park in the long walk.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is more suitable for him, and he does run well fresh, and I think he can beat these. Langer Dan, what do they make of him? He's the highest rated in here, but
I think he won this.
I just can't bring myself to back him. But
Yeah.
Dan Skelton always says he's better off in the spring than
I know.
Is that because of his mark? Is that because of playing, playing games around his mark and things like that?
Well, they're in a bit of a tricky position because even if he runs a shocker here, the handicapper can't touch him too much. He can't make him. He can't do what he's been doing with him, right? So he either needs to win this and then be maybe a legitimate stairs hurdle contender, or maybe like second best in that market, or he bombs out and he doesn't really get touched by a handicapper because they can't do it again.
Is he a 3 miler? I mean, he's not even ran over 3 miles.
He's shown though. I thought he showed that at Sandown that he maybe
many horses do that and then they just don't stay. I'm just not sure. I mean, he could win this because on class grounds, I mean, he does have the classiest.
He's the best horse in this race.
Yeah, yeah. Profile coming in, yeah, I would say so. I just don't think he's I don't think he's a 3 miler. He could be, but he's now 8 as well, and he is having to step up, and he was outpointed by Imperi Pass, who you wouldn't say is a strong stayer himself.
If we're talking about Langer Dan this in March for a Coral Cup, I think the handicapper needs brought up in the Hague. Like really, like because it can't happen again.
I just don't like talking about Langer Dan full stop. But he's just everything about his record just points to the spring, and first time out, really back him. Skelton Yard are now 6 for 58 in the last 2 weeks. Their hot starts tapered out a bit.
Yeah.
He could turn up. He could win this. But I mean, Grasser's going to go forward.
Yeah.
He's going to make it a case. The race fit one that's interested at a bit of a price, Bon Morale.
That's one I was going to just ask.
One gets on proven stayer. Has had a float up at Newbury.
Yeah.
Where he was third. Where it was never really a serious run.
And it's that bad a race. You can improve 10. He could improve £10 and probably win.
You've seen Cramble do it. You've seen the steers. This strong leader did it towards the end of the season. You win one race of this nature, and all of a sudden the handicapper bumps you up to the high 150s in the basis of that. So I think the rating gap between the front three and him is a bit misleading. So maybe he's the play. Out the top three was drawn to Cramble the most, but Monmoral each way doesn't look too bad either.
Yeah, absolutely. But we will have our selections on Friday. You can see mine and Callum's on our social media accounts. We'll move into Saturday. We've got the Fighting Fifth. We thought we were going to get Constitution Hill with a super sub. They brought in Sergino. Sergino looks to be heading here. Mystical Power also looks to be heading here. And I'm not even going to mention other horses because it looks like it's going to be between those two.
Oh, now then.
Okay. Go on.
I think Brentford Hope's got a sneaky chance in this.
Okay.
If rain comes, I don't want it to dry out for him, but I thought he ran quite well behind Rubo, and that was totally inappropriate race for him. And he's won in heavy ground around here, and not so sleepy's won this. Shocks do happen in this. Okay, Mystical Power. How fully wound up is he for this? I mean, let's be honest.
Is he going? He's 11-4 now.
He's drifted out a little bit. Yeah. He's 11-4 kind of won, but I think generally he's a lot tighter than that. The vibes Willie Mullins suggests he will go. I mean, the last Irish horse to win this was Identity Thief.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Applesea's been beat, I mean, Wicklow Brave was almost tailed off in this the last time Willie Mullins had run this. It wouldn't inspire confidence.
No. Is Mark Walsh going, do you think?
Well, that's another thing, I mean, no guarantee. You have no idea who's going to ride him. I mean, I'd be a bit I'd be a bit antsy about it. You'd want to kind of know who's riding them for a start, and you'd kind of like to see the market as well. But there's been good Irish horses beating in this before because they've just simply been not race fit. You know, this looked like a test in the water before. But if you've got a champion hurdle pecking order, you'd have the State Man Lossiemouth or Lossiemouth State Man. Mystical Power would probably be third in most
Yeah.
people's eyes in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like a toe in the water to see where they were in relation to Constitution Hill before they flipped around. It's now a toe in the water in relation to Sergino. Now, Sergino's been anointed as if he's. I can't. But people are backing him for the champion hurdle at 8-1 here. You know, he's meant to go over fences.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden he's a massive player in the champion hurdle.
I can't though. The way I was last year with him, and obviously, like I think he'd have won the Triumph last year, and I think he was only pick I had that actually like justified what went shorter. I don't think I could come on here and say he won't win a fight in fifth. He's the one, but it's a bit of a strange decision how they've obviously been schooling him over fences because they thought Constitution Hill was back. Now they're reverting to hurdles. Henderson has had a bit of a tricky time in the past few years. Remember, Epiton beat, it was a dead heat but not so sleepy. But there's times where like the fighting fifth sometimes doesn't really go Henderson's way. But I don't see anything
it's
else.
50-50, isn't it? Bouverdier won and didn't, you know,
and
sometimes they win and then they don't. You know, it's one of those. These records like something like 7 out of 30 or something, you know, it's like 50-50. So you're looking at like 50-50 odds here of him winning.
And is it going to be proper good ground? Like,
yeah, you've got to wait the rain. And I think if it's good ground, I think the classier horses come to the fore. So I think that's probably a plus for him. But you know, again, as you say, he schooled him over fences, and he's teaching him to jump lower again for hurdles. Look, 152 probably belies his ability. I mean, well, yeah, but, you know, being anybody in training would be second fiddle to Constitution Hill anyway. So, and he worked quite nicely. So, no reason to suggest it before. I mean, I just think Mystical Power, yeah, usually a good supreme effort beats a Triumph hurdle winner in races like these at this stage of the season. Sergino could be a bit different. He does shape a little bit different as he is a little bit special. It's still a bit of a could would he is he kind of thing. And the Henderson Yard, they're just one's either winning quite well or one's running terribly at the moment. I don't see watch like races, but there seems to be no rhyme and reason what's going on in that yard at the moment. Even after the Cheltenham Festival debacle, where they're obviously all kind of hamstrung a bit, but you know, some of them. I mean, Shannon Bob ran deplorably, you know, and things like that. Well, Iberico Lord ran reasonably well. It's just some of them seem to be firing, and some of them.
I think I'm a better jumper than Iberico Lord right now. Like he's jumping.
He's still won, and he jumped quite well last, but you know, and you wonder how far forward they are. But I'm just like, from one horse to another. Usually, you get a feel for how a yard are going or a string's going, and they win in bunches or they run consistently in bunches. I've not really seen that with that yard, so that just plants us a further seed of doubt here. But I think Brentford Hope's comfortably third best, and you know, 8s now, 9s each way. You know, it's a muggy each way bet to nick third, or without the 2 at the top of the market. That might be the way to play this, but yeah, it's an interesting little race because you know, again, I think the market and the ground and
it'll
even jockey bookings are going to dictate, but it's probably just about right at the moment because but if Brentford Hope and the rain comes, you know, he might be able to play a part. You know, he's rated 148. Sergino's 152, Mystical Power's 154. I don't think he can bank on them being hardly fit. It's an interesting one. I think he's an interesting alternative way of running under his belt. Definitely doing better than I thought against Rubu Holt, who was race fit. And, you know, that was his bank of the season. Paul Nicholls around, you know, Wincanton is local track, you know, quick ground, tight track. You know, he was just done for a bit of speed, but he wasn't beaten far. Only a length and a quarter, and you know, it was a decent enough effort. And he's been second. He's been second. I listed listed handicapped Punchestown as well. So he's not a bad horse, and he's got course and distance form around Newcastle. So if they're not 100% and there is a bit of market weakness, and if Sergino and Mystical Power both forget about the rest of the field, which can happen in these races, we were talking about Brighterdaysahead earlier, like they kind of forgot about Golden Ace a little bit. So, well, there's actually a mare here with a bit of pace that can actually beat us if we are both looking at each other too much. So if they're a bit too deliberate with each other together, there could be a boil over here. So out of the big kind of graded races, I thought this was the one that had a chance of maybe having a minor upset in.
Moving into Newbury on Saturday, we've got the Coral Cold Cup. But again, always an open handicap. Colonel Harry's in there. Your favourite Broadway boy's in there as well. Be hilarious if he won. You've got Can Do Kid, Senior Chief. Willie Mullins is sending over Haransu Dairy, who I think is very interesting. Where are you at with this?
Won't be backing Broadway Boy. Senior Chief's gone up enough in the handicap for what he achieved at Cheltenham. I think £9 might anchor him here a little bit. I think Colonel Harry's the right favourite. I mean, that's all right. Giro won it last year. Identical profile. Had a run. Should improve for 3 miles. A decent enough weight. I'm kind of hoping he'd come out a little bit at 6s. So I think Victorino's better going right-handed. Can Do Kid. I mean, a lot of talk about him for this. But because he apparently worked quite well at Newbury Gallop, Paul Nichols was quite happy with him, but they've still all needed the run. He's now into 8s. And if the rain comes, Gallopy Latoad must have a chance. And the other one that was on my shortlist, was Henry's Friend. I think off 139, 7-year-old fits him old for this. National Hunt Chase was too attritional for him. He won a nice race at Ascot over 3 miles. He said a wee float up over hurdles for fitness. Well, wasn't inspiring, but this just seems to be the plan for a long, long way out. And he's a one at a reasonable price at 12-1 that I'm drawn to the most. I'd be interested if Iron Bridge runs here as well.
Yeah.
He might go to the Beecher though. The Hemmings colours and O'Neill Yard have had some success with this race before, but I'm mindful that he might go to the Beecher instead. He's the outsider that I thought that was interesting. But for a famous race that used to be the Hennessy, it's not the most inspiring field in the world.
I'm really interested in the fact that Willie's at the moment sending over Haransu Dairy. Now, he's always looked to me that he needs a step up in trap. He's run 4 times already this season, and these are the horses that have been in front of him: Ashdale Bob, Florin Porter, Real Steel. Now, I thought he ran a stormer in that Munster National that Florin Porter won. Now, Florin Porter won it well, but I thought in second he was the only horse that I thought put a bit of race, and he went wide as well. So you think he's definitely going to be better in a step up and trip. Now, is it going to be soft enough for him? I don't know, but I'm very interested with this. And again, probably all depends on jockey bookings. But if he sends him over here, I don't think he'll be 12-1 on the day.
No, and the only Irish horse to win it recently with Total Recall was Willie Mullins. That was backed into favouritism.
Yeah.
Interested to see you round. Well, Paul Townend has been the last couple of times.
Brian Hayes, maybe. He's over here a lot lately.
Could well be him, but that's might send the Danny Mullins over or something like that. It's a valuable enough race. I thought he's more interesting than Senior Chief. I don't not like Broadway Boy. I just think he's consistently overbet all the time, and he doesn't win enough for how short off he goes all the time. I think he's pretty one pace, but it does suit front runners. He did run well at Cheltenham. He just get found out a little bit. The yard are going well enough. Could he win? He could. Just can't back him. Too short again.
Always one of my favourite days of the year is at Fairy House. We've got a lot of races to talk about here. I've heard in good authority that the Triumph Hurdle winner is running in the 12:30. Willie DeWhaley, I think his name is. That's the Rich Ritchie horse. Now, obviously, they done that.
We don't need to run the Triumph now, do we? Everyone's on him. He's 6-1, 5-1.
And his form got a boost on Saturday. I think something that was
France. Somebody wins in France, and the form's boosted, and Rich Ritchie buys them, and Willie Mullins trains, and it's all over. There's no point being a 3-year-old today.
The The Royal Bond's quite interesting because obviously it's been demoted to a Grade 2, but I still think it's a decent race this year. Romeo Coolio obviously is the talking horse, is 5-4, and a lot of markets to win this. You've got, I think, a really exciting Willie Mullins novices and Bellocchio in here. Blue Devassi's had a good performance last time out. Sea of Sands, I think, is a very, very interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about him as a county hurdle horse, and I think this is where. I don't think he's a graded horse. I think I'll be very surprised if he's in this conversation. But it seems to be all about Romeo Coolio. If he wins this, probably goes favourite for the Supreme.
Yeah, he's joint favourite with Salvador Mundy right now, and you expect him to win. I thought he might be a bit shorter than he is.
Okay.
Open show 5-4. Bellocchio's coming off the flat. Sea of Sands is also coming off the flat. Yeah, it could be a county hurdle project easily. Bottle of Secret already looks as if he's maybe a bit further, although he'd be race fit at least.
Yeah.
And I think you'd be pretty surprised if anything, outside of that one. Blue Devassi was pretty good at Navan, underrated. Won a similar race. Yeah, he keeps kind of winning these kind of low grade races, but he's improving and he's doing it in nice style and he's race fit, and he might surprise people. He might be up to this level. I think Romeo Coolio will win. I think Blue Devassi might be second, because I think I just fear Bellocchio and Sea of Sands might need it, and it doesn't strike to me as a Willie Mullins team that's properly target this, and they tend not to anyway. So yeah, I think that the elite duo at the top of the market are the ones to look at.
Yeah, I think Romeo Coolio should be good enough here. Into the Drinmore, obviously, Firefox is in here at 11-10. Looks to be very much the target for him. Hartwood is 5-4. I'm seeing here. I think he's bigger in other places as well. You've got like a Gorgeous Tom, Pinkerton. Firefox, I thought was really good first time out over fences. Hartwood, I think, promised to be good. Like again, I thought this would be a Firefox walkover, but it might not be.
No, I mean Hartwood's up there because he absolutely thumped Corbett's Cross by 7 lengths.
Yeah.
In good style at Wexford, went out quite quickly, and he did look pretty stylish that day. And it's a race that Henry de Bromhead has really used as kind of a glorified graduation chase. He normally does elevate a pretty good one into this. He was running well in the Milmay as well. He's got experience. He's a novice in a novice race, which Iron Maximus has won before. That's the kind of line. He's got a bit of additional stamina that maybe Firefox doesn't have. And you'd have to think that the Drinmore has been a long term plan for him. While it hasn't been as much for Firefox, although he was pretty good in debut down Royal. There's just no depth in that form. And that's the kind of thing and that's why it's not kind of walkover territory for him, because this is a serious 155 rated rival that's race fit and on the upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you like, Firefox, he didn't reach 150 over hurdles. He's already got a bit to find if Hartwood runs his race. They are very hard to split. Very hard to split. He's not getting weight. He's got more potential in class, but Hartwood's probably got the best form in the book at the moment. Okay, it was favourable terms in Wexford for him, but he's placed in some good races. He's third. I know the way you're thinking. In the Milmay, where Iroko was second, he ran pretty well. He Chianti Classical win behind, and that day know how good he is. He's rated in the mid 150s, so it's tough to rate. I mean, if you think Firefox is a 160 horse will win, but if he's only 150, if he only matches his best hurdles form, he won't win this race. So he's got to improve for step up the fences as well here. That's presuming Hartwood runs his race, but
yeah,
it's a closely run thing. I can see why the market can't split them.
I actually think Croke Park's quite overpriced here. Now, obviously, one last time out, I think they'd said he'd bled that day, but he made all for the front. You could see the same happening again, where he just makes the running, and Firefox and Hartwood maybe similar to Fighting Fifth, maybe try and take each other on, and Croke Park kind of gets all his own way. I think 10-1's quite big. I think I'll have a saver on him each way if he's declared.
I think you could have a chance on him. And I think the plan is to run him. But, he's had problems and he's bled, and he reminds me. I think you win the odd classy race when you don't expect it. I think he's probably American Mike Mark II.
Maybe, yeah.
I think he's got a very high reputation, but I think he's very hard to keep sound. I quite liked him for the Bartlett, and I think
that's right. Yeah.
he was going to go to the bar and Sterling Story wasn't. That's how I was in the Elliott pecking order. He's just pretty fragile, and I think he's that big as well because you think he's a bit one pace and slow. But I agree with you. I think he's got a bit of class, and I think he's got a bit of gears. And I think actually this 2.5 mile trip around here, it might actually suit him okay. You know, I mean, I Maximus won it.
Yeah.
So, you know, Gallard and Manil, horses like that. You know, genuine out and out stayers with experience tend to do really well in this. So it screams an absolute no bet race to me.
Yeah, I would.
It's a bit of a watching brief, but I do hope Firefox wins because I do think he's the one that's got a big ceiling compared to these.
Yeah, I do want to see Firefox win, but I think if I have to have a bet in the race, I think I'll maybe go Crow Park, but we'll obviously wait in declarations. Now, the next one could either be the Jewel of the Century or a procession because there's four entered. Tia Hooper's in here at 10-11, obviously won the race the last 2 years. Lossy Mouse at 11-10. I would imagine she's going to go because I don't really see what else she runs in, or they maybe just leave her until Christmas. But Beacon Edge is entered at Newbury. Maxim probably runs. There's a strange potential this is a two-runner race.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. Gornelli will run one of these at least as well. He should do.
Do you think Lossymouth runs?
Who knows? I mean, you'd assume that. I mean, once you declare a horse, you assume it would run. You know, I mean, that's the thing. It was declared for the last week. You know, stone bruise. These things can happen.
Yeah.
Back out straight a week after it is. It's a bit of a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
It's whether this rain arrives that turns this soft and makes it attritional. Because if it does, T. Hooper will win this again, and he's got Beacon Edge and Maxim there. They're 3 mile horses. They're out there to go at the clappers and take Lossy Mouse stamina out of the game.
Yeah.
And Tiapu comes late and wins. That is the plan. That's why they're in the race. Nobody else is in the race. Danger is you could give one of them maybe a bit too rope and you stay out there and you don't time it right.
I mean, he did it last year with Perry Pass. Now, you can obviously argue Lossy Mouse better than Perry Pass, but if it does go soft, I don't imagine he's going to say to Lossy Mouth, I know she's getting weight, but I don't imagine he's going to try and knock her pan in before a champion hurdle campaign. I think that'd be a bad move.
I remember she was lightly raced last season. She wasn't even seen until middle of January.
Yeah.
You know, and it was the same in her juvenile season. So, you know, this is a different starting point for her. She's actually taking on a meaningful opponent, let's be honest, for, you know, almost the first time.
Yeah.
She is getting £7, but she is rated kind of, what is it, £8 behind Tia Hoopu. Honeysuckle won this 3 times in a row. Appleseed won it 3 times in a row, and I think Tia Hoopu's going to win it 3 times in a row.
Okay,
I think it'll become attritional. And the thing that does it to me, I don't think Lossymouth will be anywhere near fully tuned for this, and I think she has to be to win this because Tia Hoopu will be, because he goes well, incredibly fresh. And they might just leave him again.
And they've got a winning formula with Tia Hoopu now.
This way, if Lossymouth gets beat, I wouldn't be bothered if it was on towards the spring.
No.
Even if she get beat pretty badly, you know, it would be kind of a throw-out kind of run, I would think, because she'd just go. I mean, it'd be a soft opportunity. She'd probably go to the international again. It's a trial, you know. Maybe even avoid Christmas, and it could be an excuse to kind of do that. I just think this is a curious. I wouldn't start here at all. I mean, you need to stay in this race. You know, but the Stairs Hurdle. I'm running 2 pacemakers in this race for a Stairs Hurdle winner that runs well fresh. They'll be ready for this. You're asking quite a lot for a classy kind of speedster mare that hasn't really raced against any meaningful top graded opposition against the boys. First time out in the season in an earlier campaign than usual. So yeah, I think the market's about right. If maybe T Hoopy should be a shade short of Lossymouth, could be classy and speedier. You know, they could get the tactics wrong. You know, she could easily win this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'd be in the T Hooper camp again. You know, for a horse that consistently wins, he doesn't really get a lot of praise.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move into the final part of the show. We don't have an anti-post pick this week. You have a tracker horse though to follow.
Yeah, I thought it was did I ask you that? It was the third in that big Westerner race.
Yeah.
He's been off for a long time for Willie Mullins, probably needed it more than most people, but the Ballymore colours, he just absolutely blew up approaching the last. Looked like he was going to come up and win, and then just imploded. But I mean, he looks like one that he might need a couple of runs to get fit, and he could get a mark, and then he can make a lot of hay in, in handicaps in spring. Because I think there's a touch of class about him. Maybe even over a shade shorter, 2.5 miles, something like that. They normally target a good one for a Coral Cup, something like that. And you need to get a lot of experience into him. But I think he's got potential to be like kind of Coral Cup Martin Pipe horse down the line. So I think he was one to watch. Did I ask you that? The way he just breezed into it, and he was left behind a little bit, but he was 28-1 in the market. He didn't fancy it at all. But the big run at that price, he looked like he was going to come with like, well, maybe he could win it, but the way the ground was just a bit too attritional, and he had this massive layoff as well. So as long as he doesn't come out too quickly and bounce, keep him sound, I think he's definitely got races to win it. Put it this way, I mean, the second, third, and fourth in that race will be shedding their maiden tags very soon. I would think.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'm going to go on Thursday. We saw a nice maiden hurdle in Warwick that was won by, I think, a smart Ollie Murphy novice in Castle Iors. I think obviously he's got form behind Regent Stroll, so I think that franks that. But I did like the Alan King horse, Don't Mind If I Do, in second. I think he might come on for the run. Now, whether he takes kind of, I don't think the British novice scene will be up to much at all. But I do think you will see him maybe plunder like a couple of kind of grade twos in the road to Cheltenham and maybe get a shot at a Supreme or a handicap or something. I do think he's potentially
Scottish champion hurdle, you see?
Scottish champion hurdle, possibly, yeah. Alan King does pretty well.
It's a race he loves.
Yeah, Alan King could. Yeah, that's exactly where he might go. Yeah, I think he's a nice horse. I think Castle Hivers is a good one, and I think again it Frank's a former Regent Stroll. But I think in terms of Alan King novices, I think he could be taken high rank.
Yeah, I think there's a decent few British novices. It's just interesting how they get campaigned and whether they can kind of compete with the best that the Irish are going to offer. So that's always the interesting $1 million question that comes in. I think there's a bit of hope for the Brits this year. They might be able to maybe nick the odd race that people won't expect this year. Yeah, I mean, another one, Carnaquet was very impressive at Tramore yesterday in that opener. For Willie Mullins, won by 11 lengths, and that's just another name that's kind of flown out the radar now. 2025's for the Supreme looks
Martin Pipe,
pretty reasonable.
Martin Pipe.
It could be a Martin Pipe horse. Anything could be a Martin Pipe horse at this stage of the season. I mean, about 60 that could be Martin Pipe horses down the line. No, he's a Supreme horse. He's a 2 miler all day.
I really liked that performance, but again, you just don't know. Is he starting one of his best novices at Tramore?
He's done that before. Yeah, it's a race. It's a race that he's won with. He won that with Gaelic Warrior in Lorena.
Oh yeah, that was a nonsense race. He won by 90 lengths.
And with that Monday Sable Tour, he nominated him as his dark horse in the Supreme Hurdle division. So I think he's one that's kind of. He's come with a bit of reputation in France, and I think he's graded class. I think he's pretty good. He's just going to be one that I think is going to chuck in Christmas in that 2 mile and see where they're at with. But I mean, Paul Townend liked him as well, and he beat the right horse and down Mexico way in second. So it's the best Willie Mullins 2 miler I've seen at the moment. That's for sure. So that's just another name, but there'll probably be another 2 or 3 that will come out in the next following weeks. That's the kind of thing you've got to kind of bide your time a little bit and see what's happening. But yeah, I mean, pleased with Gabbero for the Beecher Chase. We put up last week at 16s. He's now 7-1.
I did see Gitmaker wasn't declared for the Irish national.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, the Welsh national. Yeah,
Welsh national. Whether I say Irish,
he'd a hold up. He'd a joint injury. So yeah, but fortunately there was no betting in that at the time. So I've not lost anything there at all. The Ida is going to be his new target. According to the trainer. So yeah, it's just a big marathon. It's a big marathon race with soft ground. That's what you want for him. So yeah, I mean that's the kind of thing. I mean, all base plans can be derailed and be put back together within a second. So that's the nature of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. But we are going to wrap up there. Callum, always a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks again. Catch you next week.
And we'll be back next week where we will have, obviously, all the racing over the weekend to recap. Thank you very much.